We're live.
Thank you, Karen. Good afternoon and welcome to the 3rd of September 2025 meeting of the Audit, Finance and Risk Committee of the Toronto Seniors Housing Corporation. I'm Lawrence D'Souza, chair of this committee. This virtual meeting is being live streamed on YouTube. In addition to the participating board members and the leadership team, I'm pleased to welcome our virtual audience and thank you for joining us. We have no deputations today. I would like to recognize that September is World Alzheimer's Month and Prostate Cancer Awareness Month. Tomorrow begins Maulid al-Nabi. Today's agenda will have a verbal update on our 2026 budget from our CEO, and then we'll focus on a Q1, Q2 procurement report, Q2 and July 2025 financial results. Then we will go in camera. We have no decisions to make when we return to the public realm to adjourn the meeting. I want to thank Grant, Vince, and their team for the preparation of the materials brought forward for today's meeting. Let us begin with the land and African ancestral acknowledgement. Though we may be meeting virtually in different locations, as a committee of a City of Toronto corporations, we acknowledge that we are on the traditional territory of the Wendat, the Haudenosaunee, Anishinaabeg, Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people. Toronto is home to a vast diversity of First Nations, Inuit, and Métis who enrich this city. We also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by a Dish with One Spoon Wampum Treaty between the Haudenosaunee and the Anishinaabeg nations, the Two-Row Wampum Treaty between the Haudenosaunee and the Dutch, as well as Treaty 13 and the Williams Treaties involving the Anishinaabeg and the Crown. Toronto Seniors Housing Corporation is committed to reconciliation. We honor the land through our communities and programs that reflect and respect its heritage. Our land acknowledgement marks a small but key step in the process of reconciliation and building a positive relationship with Indigenous people. African and ancestral acknowledgement. Toronto Seniors Housing Corporation acknowledges the racism and injustices faced by individuals who were brought to this land involuntarily, particularly those affected by the transatlantic slave trade. We acknowledge the experiences of Black peoples who arrived in Canada seeking a better life following the abolition of slavery by the British in 1834, while also recognizing the structural, systemic, and individual racism that they encountered, which continues to persist today. This racism culminated in the tragic destruction of Afriqueville, which was once the largest settlement of the Black community in Canada. Toronto Seniors Housing Corporation is committed to recognizing all forms of racism, especially anti-Black racism, and is actively working to combat these injustices. We will now proceed to item number 3, that is the approval of the public meeting agenda. Are there any amendments? Hearing none, may I now have a motion for approval of the public agenda by a member of this committee?
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Moved by Warren. Brenda, would you like to second that? Yes, seconded by Brenda. All in favor, carried. Next item is a declaration of conflict of interest, Stephanie. Does any member have any conflict under the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act? Hearing none, let us move to the next item, that is approval of the public session minutes of this committee's meeting held on June 4th, 2025. Are there any amendments? Yeah, hearing none, may I have a committee member move a motion for approval of the minutes?
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Moved by Warren and seconded by Brenda. Thank you both. All in favor, carried. 6 is the next item as approval of the minutes of the closed session of the meeting held on June 4th, 2025. I need a mover. Moved by Warren and seconded by Brenda. All in favor? Carried. Next is item number 7. Review of the AFRC action items. We have one item from our last committee meeting on June 4th, on June 4th, 2025, being an update to the board on cybersecurity risk. I'll pass it on over to Grant to speak more on this. Grant?
Thank you. So through the chair and to the committee, good afternoon, everybody. On this action item to bring a cybersecurity risk update to AFRC, we are working with Toronto Community Housing to facilitate this update, ideally at the next AFRC meeting in October. As the committee is aware, TCHC provides IT and cybersecurity as a service to TSHC. They recently have a new VP of IT as well, and we are meeting with them next week, or that person next week, and we will be asking for this update. This was something we had hoped to bring a bit sooner. However, we will work to bring it to the next AFRC with Toronto Community Housing. I'll just sort of add, cybersecurity continues to be a priority for us, and we are part of other updates with Toronto Community Housing, and we do work with them as required on cybersecurity on a regular basis. And I'll take any questions.
Any questions or comments? Or any additions to the action item list? Hearing none, we will move to item number 8, that's CEO's update. Over to you, Tom.
Great. So yes, through the chair to the committee. And good afternoon, everyone. Following our board meeting on August the 28th, I just wanted to provide an update on the 2026 budget. We are now getting into those final stages of preparing the submission, which is due to the City of Toronto next week on September 9th, so fast approaching. And the board had a few questions at that session that I want to highlight how we've addressed them or moving forward to address them. First, there was a request for more detail on how the budget aligns with the city's directive and priorities. The 2026 budget was developed with a clear focus on the city's directions, those 3 areas, which prioritize service to tenants, maintaining financial sustainability, and finding opportunities for efficiencies and savings. We have fully incorporated the city's direction in our submission details, how we balance maintaining services with finding savings. We've also taken care to show how our budget supports our own strategic priorities with Toronto Seniors Housing, and you'll certainly see that with this next draft of our budget. And second, there was an interest at that board session on August 28th meeting around the tenant consultation process. And to provide more insight, we shared the materials with the board for that August 6th and August 7th tenant consultation sessions, as well as the information that was presented to STAC on August the 14th. So that was sent out to you before this meeting. And you would have probably noted that the materials include details on the current 2025 budget, areas of interest we received input on, and feedback from tenants, and details on the next steps in the budget process. These sessions help to provide the feedback on our 2000, well, not feedback on both 2025, but then also 2000 and our current budget. And then also what we heard was around pest management remaining a priority, and certainly, for our tenants and with staff and the board. And I know that was certainly shown in the board's interest, and we will, and what we heard, a detailed pest management plan that will be presented at a future QTech meeting, and our continued efforts and planned investments in this area are reflected in the 2026 budget. And then, probably finally, and at this point, perhaps most critical to us, is the process on the cost allocation model with MNP and Toronto Community Housing Corporation. The project is on track to conclude by late September. We've proactively secured an agreement with the city that allows for an updated submission on October 30th to reflect the outcome of this work and the realignment of the costs. And looking ahead, we are preparing the presentation materials for the city's review, which will provide, and you'll see, a holistic view of the budget. We plan to bring a comprehensive update and presentation on the 2026 budget to the next audit finance to this committee on October the 16th. This will be our chance to go into details and present the final outcome of the cost allocation work. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Any questions for Tom? Brenda?
Sorry. Just a quick question on the MNP report, the cost allocation. What sort of things will they be looking at, Tom? Are they looking across the whole board about things, or is there a focus what they're doing?
Yes, yeah, Brenda, I'm going to pass that over to Grant. He has been kind of our lead on that work. Grant?
Thank you, Tom. And through the chair to the committee. So the cost allocation project is looking at the overall model of how costs are embedded in both the transition related services or activities that Toronto Community Housing provides and in the arrangement we have with them, as well as the service delivery agreement. So it's looking at costs associated with the ownership of the building, some of the direct costs, things like utilities, for example, but also indirect costs, the administration fee that we have in the arrangement with Toronto Community Housing, as well as the shared service costs. So it's going through all of the agreement details, looking at all the services, looking at the existing cost allocation model, which has been based largely on a blend of direct and the allocation of 23.5% in many cases.
23.5, yes.
And it's actually reviewing that in a structured way. So MNP is working together with both TSHC and Toronto Community Housing to go through all of those details right now, looking at it from both more understanding of the services that are provided associated with the current arrangement, and then an updated methodology of how to allocate costs. And we're midstream right now on that project, and it's very aggressive, but it is being worked on as we speak to allow us to get to a point where we can update the submission for the city process, as noted by Tom in early October.
So it's quite comprehensive then.
It is quite comprehensive.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Covering quite a bit. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Grant and Tom. Any more questions? Hearing none, we will move to item number 9. That's Q1 and Q2 procurement report. Over to you, Vince.
Thank you, Lawrence, and through the chair to the committee. The procurement report outlines the summary of the purchases made in Q1 and Q2 of 2025 based on the different types of purchases made, including as outlined by the procurement method and delegation of authority, which included the 3 types of procurement, including open competition, invitational, and direct award. Also included are change orders and post-purchase approval requests, or PPAR. In the report as well, you will see that there is one joint procurement with TSHC for employee health benefits through an RFP process. Along with that as well, there were 3 change orders included, which the board has approved, including one payment through, one extension of the SDA with TSHC, and also a couple of others, one including Riven Translation Service and Interpretation Services, and Calian Cyber Solutions. In attachment 2, you will see that there are the post-purchase approval, which in this case here, there were about in the first 2 quarters, approximately 17 items, as outlined in the accounts payable policy. Any purchases made that requires the sort of post PPAR and above 200 would require this approval process to be in place. Just to give you a brief and high overview, there were 3 amounts paid to TSHC amounting to $1.477 million. There were also, that included the 2022 surplus payment that we made, along with a 2 joint procurement item there. Along with that as well, there were 6 additional community action fund for entertainment, and also some requests relating to other off areas, including HSC and professional services there. I would take any questions if there are any at this point.
Any questions for Vince?
Just a quick one. The post
Yeah.
post-purchase approval request. These were things that were not previously approved or were why does it not fall under the other categories?
Through the chair into the committee, typically for these types of purchases being made, at times if the paperwork is not completed on time, then therefore the invoice has already been issued and generated, then the PPAR is issued. Typically, if we plan the process in front, whereby this information is going out for purchase order, then it eliminates that piece of the work. And so I think for the first 6 months, there were some unexpected higher volume than expected in terms of that, but we are working with the business units to ensure that all the informations are coming in more timely so that we can get this through a purchase order.
Okay.
Vince, I have a couple of questions. In that attachment 2, there is one HSC insurance. Is it the premium 46,201?
Through the chair into the committee, yeah. So that the one relating to the $46,000, that is for the extent that it was for the directors and officers insurance that we had to sort of include at the beginning of the year, because that was not included in the original HSC insurance back in October, November of 2024, due to the fact that the city was paying through that. And at the beginning of the year, we had to go through the process to get that transferred over and being processed for that directly with TSHC as opposed to through the city there. So that is a one-time thing. That 46,000 moving forward, it will be included in the upcoming renewal, which is expected to be for October 31st of this year. And we expect to see that that directors and officers insurance included in the overall premium.
Yeah, and there is actuarial and consulting services, plus there is a legal services. Will they recur next year?
Through the chair into the committee, is that for the
one is
the
Mercer,
yeah.
And that Torkin Mains, these two.
Yeah.
Torkin
So
Mains.
yeah, Torkin Mains. So through the chair for the Torkin Mains, that one was a special instance that was done to have a special care occupancy regulation. So for that one there, we anticipate that that would be a one-time activity. And since then, with those legal has been put forward through a PO, so that has been mitigated moving forward. And for Mercer, this one here was a special benefits that we had to get consultation on for the employee health benefits, and so that was a one-time. But certainly these items we will look at mitigating them moving forward through the normal process, if time permits, so that we can get them out of this PPAR report.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Okay, thank you, Vince. Now we will go to item number 10. That's Q2.
Mr. Chair,
July.
sorry to interrupt. Tom had your hand up.
Oh, sorry. Okay,
that's okay, Lawrence. Just quickly through the chair to the committee, just on the Torkin and Mains, it did relate to the care occupancy and RHRA, and right now there has not been a lot, and Vince, in terms of ongoing costs, right? So that was one time for a point in time to understand more about that, get some legal advice. As things kind of roll out, or how they roll out, we don't know with the RHRA. We may have to involve Torkin and Mains again. So just want to be kind of clear with the board that that was one time for some work they have done for us, but we could be using them in the future. We don't know when. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Vince, please go ahead.
Okay, great. Through the chair to the committee, number 10 relating to the year-to-date July financial result. Through July 31st of 2025, TSHC incurred operating expenses of $29,045,063 on a total revenue of $33,463.85, thereby providing an excess of revenue over expenses of $4.411569 million. including amortization expense. The excess of revenue over expenses included these factors. The year-to-date Q2 surplus from TSHC to SHC reconciliation, which resulted in a net positive impact of $6.285332 million. There was also some slight higher in expenses of salary and benefits, which is about $372,312 higher. And those expenses are really as a result of a vacation accrual that was expected to be used up in the later part of the year, parental leave, WSIB, and long-term disability, and staff benefits. And also we had a full complement of staff in operations and a low vacancy rate. Through that as well, there was an offset in savings in the post-retirement accrual. So overall, there was a net effect of $372,000. On top of it, there's other small savings in professional services and miscellaneous expenses there. Attachment 2, you will find our balance sheet, and I'll take any questions if there's any at this point.
Any questions?
Just a clarification.
Yeah.
First paragraph says excess of revenue over expenses of $4,411,000. And then further down, the July year-to-date surplus with a net positive effect of $6,285,332. So what is the actual excess of revenue? Is it the $4 million or is it the $6 million?
To the chair and to the committee, that's correct. The 4.44111,569 is the excess of revenue over expenses. The other one you're referring to, I was referring to earlier, the 6.285.
The reconciliation. Yeah.
That's right. That's the reconciliation for TCHC's is a quarterly reconciliation component. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. No more questions. Okay, we will now go to item number 11 to have a motion to move into our closed session under TSHC bylaw 1/2021 section 4.19 subsection 1J and 1K of the bylaw. I need a mover and a seconder.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Moved by Warren and seconded by Brenda.
Brenda,
All in
thank you.
favor? Yeah, all in favor. Carried. Yeah, now we will be moving into the closed session.